Hello, everyone. It looks like we are live. It's always a little delayed, so hopefully this is showing up right now. But if you're here joining live, thank you for being here. If you're watching the replay, interact in the comments as if you're here live. And I'm really excited for this session today. 1 second, technical things. It's about to play sound.
This is how
Cool. All right. Good. Hold on. Okay, here we go. But if you're here live, let me know in the comments that this is working. But I want to introduce you to my favorite astrologer, Lee Lotto. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Hi. I'm excited to have you here today because I get to have people witness your magic and a big piece of me. Every single time I've done a reading with you, Laura, I've cried. You've seen it. I'm just
Yeah.
like in tears because it just feels so validating and it's always so accurate. And every single time afterwards, I'm like, I want to tell everybody about what just happened, but like I can't even put the words to just what just happened. So why not let everyone witness it happen?
Mm,
Yeah. So
so juicy.
yeah, before you get into my chart and all of those things, though, I think one question people might have is when it comes to astrology, are you just like looking at a chart and it's just purely your training, or are you using intuition, spiritual
Yeah.
connection? Like, how does that work?
All of that. Yes. So that's such a great question and so deep. I feel like we could do a whole just episode on that. For me, it is partially finding the puzzle pieces and learning the language of astrology. It is another language. It's like learning German or Spanish. You have to practice it. You have to understand that you conjugate things this way in this particular language. And same thing with astrology. I am literally translating the energetics of that planet into like this realm and our comprehension of how that works in our language. So it is learning that language and transferring it, but then there's an art to it, right? There's the art of interpretation. I'm actually putting together a class on this in our new Patreon we're about to unload, and we are teaching people how to interpret and what that looks like. And so my gift, I would say, that I've apparently done in many lifetimes and now in this lifetime is to be able to interpret this and give people the words, and not only give them the words, but really help them understand it on a daily basis, make it really applicable. My teacher, Deborah Silverman, I love her, and I know you have that. And she has that urge as well to really make it applicable. Applied astrology is the name of her school. And there's no point in doing astrology if you don't understand what the astrologer is saying. So for me, I think I do definitely have a lot of knowledge that I've brought with me from past experiences on this earth. Also, I have a lot of intuition that does quote unquote turn on when I'm doing chart readings. It seems to be lately that as I'm stepping into my spirituality more and more, that seems to be the doorway where the intuition really gets activated. It's almost like my spirit homies are like, oh, she's doing a reading, guys. Let's download her. Right.
Mm.
And that's when like the file download starts. And for some people, that door gets opened really big. For some that are not ready for it, it doesn't get opened and I just do my regular readings, which are still lovely. But for some who are real open and ready for those messages, sometimes it's like, oh, I have to pause myself in the reading to give you the message that spirit wants. So yes, all of the above.
And I've experienced that with you. And that's why one of the reasons I love it so much, because you just get so much. But yeah, before we dive in, also, if you guys are interested in getting your own reading by Laura, I linked her page to go get your reading down in the description. So go check that out. Also, if you're here now watching live, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you're watching the replay, also hit the thumbs up button. It really helps my channel and gets these videos out there. But yeah,
Yep.
I'll let you just like take it away and flow with it. And everyone watching, if you have any questions that come up, I will keep an eye out for them and maybe at the end address some of those things.
Absolutely.
With you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, first of all, do we have a time constraint?
No, I guess not.
Okay, cool. Because sometimes when I get in it, like it just starts going and it ends up being 75, 90 minutes. And I'm like, oh, we should probably pause now.
Yeah,
So,
whatever feels good for you.
okay, I try to keep it to an hour because most people's brains can only handle that much. So, all
Hey,
right,
on the plus side, I have this replay that if I want to go back
right.
and rewatch, which I will, I will.
And that's the beauty of my readings with people too. They're always done or mostly done on Zoom, but I always record them because I am an intuitive astrologer. And sometimes when I say things, I'm just the channel, right? I don't always remember what I say. So people will ask me to repeat it and I go, sorry, it's
Right.
gone.
Also, I love today. We were texting before this live, and she was like, "You have a lot going on in your chart right now." I'm like, "Thank you for letting me know because I feel like there's a lot going on in life, so that's validating in itself."
Yes, it is. It is. So I'm going to share your chart, and Annie will share your birthday if anyone is wanting to check this out themselves. So we've got you born on a Wednesday, the
Yeah.
13th of December, 1989 at 8:44 p.m. And that was in Vancouver, Washington.
Universal time 4:44. Woo.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that fun? So when we're looking at a chart, the first thing I like to do is explain to people what in the heck it is I am looking at, because I want this to be, make sense to them. So when you're looking at a chart, there's a circle in the middle of it, and that is Earth. And then there's an X, and he's got a bunch of red lines in here, but there is an X hidden under all the red lines in the middle here. And that X is your mama giving birth to you, or, your birth mother giving birth to you. And the moment of your birth, the moment you emerge from that fluid filled protective chamber, that physical body of another person and her energetic field, your squishy little brain gets downloaded with the various frequencies of the planets and where they are in the sky, which constellation they're in. And that gives us our energetic programming that we then get to work with here on Earth. So when you're looking at your chart, the circle in the middle is you, your mama, and you on Earth. And then the moment, the snapshot, if you have the birth time, you get to ask your birth attendant, your metaphorical birth attendant, to run out and see which constellation was rising on the east. And for you, Annie, that's Leo, 15 degrees Leo, smack dab in the middle of it. So you were like, I'm showing up right in the middle, brave and bold and courageous. And the rising sign is the filter. It's like when you take pictures on your phone, you can change the filter, right? Lots of different filters now with technology. So with astrology, we have 12 different filters. We can put all of these planetary images through. And for you, it shows up very daring, wants to be seen, which I love because look at you with your little YouTube stuff, right? Like you want to be seen. And people recognize that about you. They see you as initially the layer outside is the fun, it's the playful, it's the bold, it's the daring. And then underneath that layer is where all the good, juicy stuff is. So the rising sign is one of the big three. When people are talking about astrology, they'll be like, what's your big three? The sun, your sun is 22 degrees Sagittarius. The moon, that's 12 degrees Cancer. And then your rising, 15 degrees Leo. So for you, you're fire, water, and fire. This is a fun combo because it makes you like playfully, emotionally tuned in. There's a lot of playfulness. There's a lot of intuitive action when it comes to fire signs. And then the water energy with Cancer moon makes you really compassionate and feeling oriented. So this is the main point of where we start when we're doing a reading. Now, Annie, we've got lots of things to talk about in your chart because not only do we have like some great natal placements going on, but we've got some activity happening that's pretty significant. So when I'm looking at a chart, there's planets on the outside that are in green on the outside of the circle. Those are where they are in the sky currently. And for you, the planet of intense transformations, death, rebirth, renewal, creativity, like from the destruction, right? You have to destroy something in order to have this big creative renewal. And that's Pluto. And he's parking it right on top of your planet of Venus, values, relationships, and money. So when you asked today, like, I think I need to chat about money and business and stuff. And I'm like, oh, yes, you do. Yes, because Venus for you is 2 degrees Aquarius, which natally, this is what this means. It makes you value people's uniqueness. You value authenticity and eccentricity, like unique people who are stepping into their own, being their weirdo selves, letting their freak flag fly. Like you really value that. I as well. I have my planet Venus at 22 degrees Aquarius. So we both really like all the weirdos. So come on, weirdos, come join us. But what it means is you're really learning and valuing how to be an independent person who really brings in money independently. Aquarius is a lot of independence, and it's a lot of rebellion, and it's a lot of revolutionary things. So you are really learning 2 degrees. So it's just a little baby Aquarius. You're learning how to bring in money in a whole new way and utilize the internet and utilize community. Because although Aquarius is independent, it absolutely is genius enough to know that we have to be independent in our own skills, but we have to rely on other people in the community for their unique skills. And that's how Aquarius energy really works well, is by respecting everybody else's uniqueness. And that's something like you really hold true. That is a core value of yours. Do you identify with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like weirdos only, even in romantic partners. I don't want some like normal person. They have to be kind of eccentric and very open.
Absolutely. And allow you to be your unique self too. There's got to be a sense of independence in your partnerships, in your friendships. Venus really has everything to do with our programming around how we relate on an epic level when it comes to people, but also with money. So our relationship to money, with money, how we use money. And Venus is all about how we spend our money too. So when it's in Aquarius, you rarely will spend money on yourself. You'd prefer to spend it on others or give it to others, or like there's this very much this share it with the community kind of vibe, right? If I make money, well, then I should teach others how to do it too, because we all need to share together in the pot, right? That's the energy. Now, what I love about this is Pluto is shaking you up in this department right now. When Pluto hits a natal planet, you cannot ignore it. Absolutely cannot. You must recognize what you're being asked to do, what your assignment is. So right now, the planet of death and rebirth. Now, death doesn't mean physical, right? But it can. But typically it means an old part of you, an old way of being needs to die, because a new part of you needs to rise from the ashes like the phoenix bird and do things totally different. You're feeling this right now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, there have been so many times lately that I'm literally like, I want to throw it all away, throw away my YouTube channel, throw away the coaching, just like throw everything away.
100%. Yep.
Over it.
Yeah, I'm done. And that's such an Aquarius thing to do, is to just cut and be like, done with that, moving on. Aquarius is very, very intellectual, very geniusness kind of energy, and very savant kind of energy. And if you think about savant genius people, their social connections aren't necessarily really emotionally deep. They're more like intellectually connected. So I can see how you'd be feeling that towards business. It's like, I just want to cut. I can't handle this. I need something to change. It's almost this like Superman feeling where Clark Kent needs to rip that like suit and tie off and like step into his true Superman outfit, like the one that we all really appreciate much better, right? This is kind of this energy when Pluto shows up on top of Venus, is this, I need to find what I truly value. Do I truly value doing these YouTubes the way I was, doing these videos the way I was, or do I need to really showcase something new? Something that is truly rebellious and me, right? There's a rebellious nature here, which is why you want to cut and run. It's that's the rebel. Pluto is asking you to be wise about the transformation, though. The transformation of Pluto, I think of very much of like the giving birth situation. I've given birth 5 times. For those of you that don't know, my youngest is 1 year and my oldest just turned 15. And I've given birth in a pool in my home 3 times, and on a couch once, and then at a birth center once. So all home births, natural births. And it is incredibly transformative energy. It breaks you open from the inside, and you feel like you're going to like break yourself. And in a way, you do, and you need to, because that's the transition that needs to occur. This is really what's happening for you when it comes to what is it that you want to spend your time on a daily basis doing? What do you value? That you value it enough to help raise the vibe of the community, to help others be independent, to help yourself be independent, but also to have like a revolution. This is revolutionary energy. So whatever it is that you do value, there's this like hint of, I want to change something. I want to shake the system from within. Do you know the word iconoclast?
Iconoclast?
Iconoclast. Yeah.
No, I've never heard of that.
Okay. I have a little girl who's 3. She is my 7 planet in Aquarius child. And she is an iconoclast. And what this energy is it's a person who breaks down an institution that isn't working anymore, quote unquote institution, to build something better, to build something anew. So you can think of people like Maya Angelou. She is an iconoclast when it comes to writing and putting out thoughts. And she's a thought leader and really made people think about how they were doing things differently. Oprah, another great iconoclast, right? People who break down the system of how it was and carve the way for new things to come. That's what Pluto on your planet of values and money and business and relationships is asking you to do, to break down something that isn't working anymore for you on a daily basis and renew it with a whole new thought process, like almost like inventors, right? Nikola Tesla, like these weird, unique ideas where you're like, is that a thing? Could I do that? Holy shit, I think that's a thing. I think I could, right? Like ideas that just a year ago you would have never considered. 6 months ago you would have never considered. Now suddenly you're like, damn, that might be a thing, right? Complete new way of bringing in energetics with relationships, dealing with money, bringing in money, all of this. And because for you, it's in your 6th house in your chart, we have 12 houses that look like little slices of pie. And this is the area where you look at it like a map. And this is the area in the map where we deal with our daily routines and how we are of service to others. So you have to really value what you're doing in order to fully be of service to others. And you have such unique ways of doing it. And you're so open to all the eccentricity of the people you serve. And now Pluto is going, hello, it's time to do shit different. You're feeling that. Yeah,
I am. And just, the rebellious part of me, which I've never liked doing things the way other people do it. And since I'm online and there are now all of these online experts telling you how to do things, and then it gets in my head and I'm like, oh, should I be doing things like that? And then I try those things and then it completely throws me off. It's so irritating. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to do your own thing. So do I. If we're doing it like someone else, I promise you we're doing it wrong. However, where that shows up for you is because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 planets hanging out in good-hearted, grounded, and frugal and practical Capricorn. And Capricorn is not a big fan of rocking the boat. Capricorn really likes to have a solid foundation, make sure the bridge is structurally sound so that the equipment can get across, so that people can do their job and we can be efficient. He doesn't really want you to be willy-nilly up in the sky like the weirdos, right? He wants you to be grounded and stable. So the fact is, you got 4 planets kind of contradictory to what you value. And 2 of them are hanging out in the same house as your values. So we have to lean on the other planets in here. So we've got Vesta. Now, this is an asteroid. I don't bring her into every reading, but for you, I thought it was really important because especially when we're talking about purpose and career and what we're doing, Vesta to me looks like the Olympic torch. It looks like someone's holding a torch and then there's like a flame above it. And this is an asteroid that really represents the energetics of our heart passion. It's like how people follow the Olympic flame, like it's this symbol of humanitarianism and peace and love, right? And competition, but like good sportsmanship kind of thing, right? That's what this Olympic flame represents. This is what Vesta is. She is our heart flame that we absolutely have to follow in this life. And oh, look, she's at 8 degrees weirdo. I mean, Aquarius. I love this for you because it tells me you are really tuning in when you're doing your own unique rebellious thing, when you're doing your daily routines in a way that works for you. Not for Susie Homemaker, not for Tina, the lady and the coach on Instagram, right? But for Annie, because Annie's musical composition, AKA your birth chart, says that you value independent, weird freedom in your daily routines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, you also do work very hard.
I work so hard and hate when I have stuff on my schedule. Like when I have time blocks, a ton of them on my schedule throughout the week, I'm like, I feel suffocated.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's that Superman feeling of like, right? Like you want to rip that off and escape your daily routines because they're too heavy. Now, the reason for that is because you literally came here to learn that. So thanks, Saturn. Your karmic shit is the planet Saturn, and he is hanging out right in the middle of Capricorn, and he's right next to Neptune. Well, Neptune is flowy and foggy and artsy fartsy and intuitive, and Saturn is not. He is like the principal of the school. You need to do your work, get good grades, and graduate and get the hell out of here because I don't want to deal with you anymore, right? Saturn is the cop behind you going 10 and 2, seatbelt on, kids buckled up, drive the speed limit. I'm watching you, right? He wants you to do the work. And for you, the work looks like being in your flow, being in your intuitive, creative flow every day. And your mind is tied in here because we got Mercury at 9 degrees, the planet that rules the way we think and communicate, Neptune at 11, and Saturn at 13. So you got like these triplets in the back seat of the car, right? And your mind is flowy and thinking about all of the things you want to create. And then Saturn's going, okay, well, yeah, we'll do that, but that's not very practical. Fine. Okay, we can do something artsy and creative, but we better make some money on it, right? Like he's the Debbie Downer. Yeah, he's the Debbie Downer of the group. What you got to recognize, though, is that you did come here to really flow. You have to have a flow in your life, even though it's a grounded flow. It's Capricorn, earthy energy. It still has to be very pulled and not pushed energy. Does that make sense?
That makes so much. I hate people putting pressure on me.
Oh God.
Hate it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hate it.
Okay, so now we're gonna dive into some good shit, and it might get uncomfortable. So how much pressure did mom put on you growing up?
Oh, so much pressure. And the fact that I'm now in my tiny house next door to my family, all of that's been coming up the last couple of years too.
Amen. Here we go. Let's find out where that is in your chart, my dear. So you have a moon in Cancer. Okay. The moon loves to be in Cancer. It's the home of where the moon feels the best. Now, the moon in our chart represents our emotional space, our heart chakra. It also is the planet that really has a lot to do with how we viewed our mother growing up and how our mother showed us the love that we particularly needed. Now, disclaimer, we are not dissing mothers here. That's not what this is about. This is about recognizing that our unique song may not have been complementary to our mother's unique song in certain areas. And we came here to learn how to work through those clashes, that dissonance. So you have a moon in the 12th house. I have a moon in the 12th house, and my podcast partner, Helena, who I do astrology with, has a moon in the 12th house. And you said today, like, I want people to see me authentically. And Helena goes, I feel that. I think that's moon in the 12th house. And I said, yeah, that's why I do my podcast, because that's where I feel authentic. And I saw that yours was in the 12th, and I was like, oh, look at us all healing our mother shit right here.
Mm-hmm. So and interesting fact, my moon is in Cancer and my mom is a Cancer.
Oh, there you go.
And my rising is Leo and my dad is a Leo.
Ta-da. Look how that shows up. It's really interesting. And actually, your sun sign is in Sagittarius, but it's in the 5th house, which is a Leo ruled house. And your sun represents your father. So even though your sun is in Sagittarius, it's still a fire sign, but it's in the Leo house, and you have Leo rising. And your sun is having a lovely, easy conversation with your rising sign. So this tells me you and your dad, if there was a quote unquote a better relationship among the two, you and your dad would have had a more strong connection outwardly than
My
you
dad
and your
is more
mom.
supportive. He's more like encouraging, whereas my mom's more of the like hold me
Yes.
back a little bit.
Yes. So what happens here is the planets don't just function on their own, and your moon sign is on the other side of the galaxy from your mind, your Neptune artistry and in spirituality, and your hard work with Saturn. So these three are hanging out in Capricorn, along with the planet of craziness and chaos. We'll talk about him in a minute. But then on the other side, we've got Jupiter at 7 degrees Cancer, your moon at 12 degrees Cancer, and then, Chiron at 15 degrees Cancer. Chiron is an asteroid. And we want to talk about him because he is an asteroid that everyone has in their chart, but for him, in your chart, it's personal. What this means is he's the wounded healer. So he looks like a key on the page here. His little glyph is like a skeleton key. And I always think of him as the key to the healing in our chart, our personal healing that we really need to do. Because he's the wounded healer. We come here with a wound, and that wound is our deep self-esteem issue, self-worth issue, not good enough, not smart enough, not lovable, not whatever, fill in, insert issue, right? We all have that. And what we get to do is learn to recognize the wound, tend to the wound, keep it clean, keep it dry, bandage it, whatever we need, and then heal from the wound. That's the goal. The goal is not to just be wounded all the time throughout our whole life, although I have seen that play out in some people's charts, right? Where they didn't learn it this time around, and they probably have to come back to Earth School. I don't particularly want to come back, so I'm trying to get my shit done this time. So for you, your Chiron is right next to your emotions. So when you have a self-esteem thing right next to your emotional heart space, you incarnated with a big assignment to do some big emotional healing. And of course, you were like, yeah, I'm going to go big. Let's park it right next to the planet of gigantic expansion. Hey, Jupiter. So not only is like the moon and Chiron together a big thing, but you're like, hey, go big or go home, right? When you were in Spirit Land, you were like, I'll take that and I'll order that. Oh, that sounds good. And you're like, let's just get all of our karmic shit done right away. And you decided to put the planet of bigness and expansiveness and obnoxiousness, but also good fortune, into this mix. So when we combine these, the moon and Jupiter make you a really big emotional person that can't hide your emotions. Like, don't try to hide them. It's not a thing. Not a thing. And it makes you really emotionally vulnerable, like crazy emotionally vulnerable, especially to mom. Anything mom says, she hits that wound button. It's almost like you have a sliver or a splinter, and sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, she just hits it every time. And you're like, thanks, mom. Okay, yep, I'm gonna go do some journaling on that one. Right? Like it's gritchy, grinding, irritating the way she can get to you, correct?
Yeah, and she picks at everything, but not in a harsh way. Like I think she very well could be on the spectrum because she'll say things and she's not trying to be mean. She's just saying what she sees, even if that's about my physical appearance.
Yes.
Things like that, you know?
Yes. Think about Cancer energy. It's a crab, right? The outer part of a crab is very tough and it's very solid, but inside nice, soft in there, but they can get pinchy and they can get bitey. Yeah. Cancer energy can get real pinchy. Oof. I know. I have a daughter with 4 planets in here. Yeah. Yep. It's an intense energy. And you were like, that's okay, mom. I'm going to come here with the ability to handle this shit. I got Jupiter here. Bring it. So what I love about your chart is these planets are back and forth. We've got 3 of them over here in Cancer, 4 of them over here in Capricorn. So they bounce back and forth. It's like almost like playing a ping pong game inside of you. When you were born, you had energy coming from this side, energy coming from this side. So you feel this pull in both directions. What we've got to do is sit in the middle and look at that side. Okay, I feel that. Look at that side. Okay, I can be grounded and stable, and learning to be in harmony in the middle of the 2 energies. Not easy task, but that's the basics of it. So what I love to think of is a metaphor for this. Okay, so we've got an earth energy, we've got a water energy. Well, when we merge earth and water, I think of the beach. So when we go to the beach, we can play in the sand, we can play on the surf, we can play right in the middle there, and we can create with the shells and the sand and the water. And that's where you kind of have to be when it comes to specifically your mom and specifically dealing with emotional issues, is like emotionally and mentally and physically kind of bring yourself to the centering space. Whether you do that in your mind, whether you do that with music would be great. Do you dance a lot?
I wouldn't say I mean, if music is on, you know,
Okay.
if music is on, I do. Or like even when I'm eating, do you
Okay.
dance when you eat? I do that all the time. But yeah, I move. I've always liked to just like throw my body around and like do cartwheels and gymnastics and
Perfect.
just throw myself around all over the place, basically.
Perfect. And in order to do that, you have to feel the gravity. You have to feel where the earth is. So there's that grounded Capricorn energy that you're like, I know the earth here is solid, and I'm going to then tip around and tumble around. And you've got to feel where you are in time and space so you can stick your landing, or you're going to be in a world of hurt. Now, this is a learned thing that you've taught yourself in order to deal with this chaotic energy. You literally have physically taught yourself how to tumble around and move around so that you can recalibrate. I don't know if you realize you've done that.
No, I
But that's
don't realize that. But my whole life, ever since I was a kid, I genuinely just like throw myself and yeah, do all that.
that
But
would be so dance was what was coming to my mind, because I was picturing like, the flinging of
well, and I was
dancers.
a cheerleader too, which
Okay.
I loved that. There was dance in that too.
Yes. Okay. So for you, when you've got so much earthiness, we don't want to get stuck in the mud, but we need to use the solid groundedness of the earth. And with so much water and Cancer over here, we don't want to get stuck in our emotions, but we need to feel them, and we got to move them through us. So how can we best do that? Oh, how about I do tumbling or gymnastics or dance or flip myself around? Sure, that sounds good. Yep. Yeah, I love that. That's a great way for you. And it allows you to enjoy the weirdness of it, right? There's the Aquarius again. It's weird to be flinging yourself around in spins in the sky and be caught, right? That's
Yeah.
not everybody gets to experience that kind of tumbling sensation and that kind of flinging around sensation.
Mm-hmm.
You actually taught yourself that to recalibrate your system.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting that this is like an intuitive thing that humans do when they're tuning into their chart?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're frustrated with your mom, fling yourself around into handstands and cartwheels and chuck some music on, get some Black Eyed Peas on and pump it like it's hot, right? Like that would be one of the best
I
things that
really
you can
want to
do.
get a trampoline in my 30s right now. I want a trampoline very badly.
We have one. I love it.
Ah.
Just strap the boobies in really good, but it's good. It's good. So when you came here, you really incarnated with this urge to heal, because the 12th house, the 12th slice of pie, is where your moon sign is. And when any planets are in this area, this is where we really are like, I'm going to do the ancestral healing. Yes. And it's not only the ancestral healing of our current existence, right? Us, mom, grandma, da da da, but it's also the ancestral healing of your own soul, right? Your past lives. So when you have your moon in Cancer, you came here to do major feminine lineage healing. I doubt if you have had any life existences where you haven't had some kind of traumatic death because you were a woman, right? Burned, drowned, beheaded, whatever, right? There's been some kind of death because you were just feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And when your moon is in Cancer, that's feminine energy in the feminine sign, and it's in this 12th house of ruled by Pisces energy, which is healing on a bigger level, a big, deep level, way, way far energy. So you came here to do a lot of feminine healing around what it means to be feminine, what it means to be a compassionate caregiver, what it means to be a healer, a nurturer. Like, this is what the work is that you're doing. And it comes to you, if we look at the opposite side of the chart, it comes to you very intuitively. It's a really intuitive thing. And it should, if I'm not wrong, it should just drop into your brain. Like, do you just get like a download? Do people just download files and ideas into your head?
Oh yeah, too many
Okay.
sometimes. Too many that it causes paralysis.
Yeah. And then the paralysis is almost like you're stuck in the fog of ideas. Yeah. Neptune's really great at that. It's almost like he is, you ever go to a concert where I love concerts, but maybe I'm just old, but the speakers, that's too loud. It's too loud, right? And it's almost like you can't even enjoy the music of the concert because you're being blasted. Like, the frequency is too intense. This can be a problem for you where you almost get too much, like you said, because your gateway, your opening to the ideas is right next to your brain. Like, it's right there. So you almost have to learn on like how to close a little bit and be like, okay, not right now. I'm working on this one. I got one project. I'm doing this. Leave me.
Seriously.
No more. No more. Put your shit in the parking lot. I'll come out to it when I'm ready. Right. So having like healthier boundaries with spirit and be like, hey, I can't take on any more right now. I'm working on this. It is hard work for you to deal with your spiritual gifts. You have to deal with them on a regular basis because you're incredibly intuitive and incredibly spiritual gifted. And Saturn right next to Neptune, you came to us in a generation. So you are of a generation with this Neptune Saturn, where you guys came here to help us, all the planet, us, all work hard to level up in our spirituality. Basically raise the vibration of the planet. But you came here with it in Capricorn. So you're doing so by changing the foundation of the system. And I think you're doing that through YouTube, all the social medias, right? I think your generation is really the one that is bringing awareness through the social medias more than anybody. So this is something you came to work on to do, and you're doing a great job at it. Yay! Yay! All right, I'm going to pause for a minute. Any questions, comments?
From me or from the people tuning in live?
Either
Me?
one.
Well, if anyone has questions, feel free to ask again as you're watching. Well, I just have a comment. I've been told before the whole like you're so open that it's almost like you can't grasp onto things. So anyone watching live who's been around my channel, I did a reading with this girl. Her name's Elizabeth April. She has like a massive following. And she said she said that. She was like, you're so open. You need to get grounded. Like, you too much to grasp onto. So I really resonate with that. And anything coming through on how to be able to do that, because I feel like I'm so busy so often. I'm busy, yet at the same time, half the time I'm just sitting there and the busyness is so many thoughts that I'm just like, what do I do with all? But it feels like I'm doing, but it's just so much and so many ideas. And it's like how to take action on all the things and organize them. It's like tangled cords in my mind.
Such a good question. Okay, there's a couple places we could look to for that. The main one I check is Mars, because that is our planet that rules action, right? Pushing the gas pedal of the car to make it go. So where's your Mars? It's at 27 degrees Scorpio, and it's hanging out in the 4th house. So for you, you take action best with scorpionic activity, scorpionic energy, which is when you can go in deep, when you can really dive into subjects that are really deep and very penetrating, very transformative. This is probably why you really wanted to do astrology reading, right? Like, let's dive in, right? Let's explore all of the depths of everything. But this is also energy that is very feeling and intuitive as well, but it's water, but it's really like below the surface, deep underneath water. So it's water that moves in a different way than the surface of the ocean. And we have to respect the pressure and the intensity down there. And there's not real fast movement because of how it pressurized. You have to take your time. And this is also the fourth area of life, which deals with our family, our lineage, our roots, our parents, and the way we want to take care of others. So for you, the action you take is really when you feel very moved to, but it's not real fast action. It's not. You don't move quickly, you move deliberately, and you wait and you wait and you wait. It's kind of irritating.
And it's also difficult when working with others or a team when others are expecting, like I'll have an idea and I'll put my idea out there and then the team's like, bam, let's go do it. And I'm like, oh, it's just the beginning of an idea. Like that's a
Right.
lot to dive on into it.
That's a great example. Like
Mhm.
you kind of throw the idea, but then it gets really intense and you're, whoa, 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 whoa. The thing with Scorpio is your action, the drive you have, the passion and desire that moves you is these deep penetrating details. You get really detail focused. There's a lot. Scorpio loves to get the deep details of things, wants to know all of the secrets, all of the everything, and then take action. But you can't always do that with things, like you said, when you're working with others. And on certain projects, you don't have all of the details and you're not going to. You may just have to launch with what you've got, right? So that can feel uncomfortable, which is why we look to the other planets that Mars is talking to. So if you look up here in just at the tail end of Pisces at 28 degrees Pisces, we have a planet. Well, she's an asteroid. Her name is Pallas. I like to call her Pallas Athena because that's her Greek name. But Pallas Athena is an asteroid that is, I think she's our counterpart to Mars. She's the feminine energy and he's the masculine energy. So he's like the guy at the bar who wants to have the bar fight. And she's like, honey, sit down. Mama's got this, right? Like she uses her feminine suave charm and her wisdom and her wit. So what I love about her is she is our planet of wisdom. So you know that with Mars in Scorpio, there's this intensity to you. There's this deep penetrating power to you, but it doesn't really get activated quickly. And when it goes, it's very deliberate, like a scorpion's tail, right? When it strikes very intentionally. So you need to use your wisdom as to when you take action on that. When you take action on whatever it is, when you decide to work with someone, there's a wisdom that is involved that you grow over time and you learn to transform into. Because look, she's in the middle of your eighth house, which is all that deep transformational energy. So you get to keep learning and growing about who you work with, when to take action, how long to take action for, and when to back off or when to abandon a project, because some projects aren't necessarily for you to continue on. Some of them you're just here to start or give the ideas for. And that's important to learn too. But with wisdom, Pallas Athena in the eighth house, talking to Mars, you really get to kind of grow into how you take action on things and when to take action on things and trust the timing, the divine timing. What I love is Neptune is over the top of Pallas Athena right now in the sky in Pisces. And so your spirituality, your intuition is actually activating your wisdom right now, which is probably why we're doing an astrology reading too.
Mhm.
Like you're like, I know I need to do something, but I better do it smart this time and not just screw
Mhm.
around. So you're learning how to do that. And that's really, really awesome because it is also involving your self-care planet. This is Ceres. Ceres is an asteroid. She's at 29 degrees Gemini. And she is helping you basically find what nourishes you. How do you need to be nourished and nurtured? How do you need to feed yourself physically with food, mentally with information and classes, and emotionally with people and love and support, and spiritually with your practices? So Ceres is who we look to for nurturance. And she is at 29 degrees Gemini, which I love because that is the tail end of Gemini. And Gemini is about information. You nurture yourself through information, through friendships, through networking, through talking, through doing interviews with people, like all of that. This nourishes you. It feeds you because it's constantly feeding you information and connecting you with new people. People are actually like a thing that really fill your bucket big time. Now, and they can take from your bucket too,
Yep.
right? Gemini's two people. We got the black, white, the yin yang, right? The on and off. So when you're on with people, you're on. And when you're off, no.
Everyone leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So this is where you find your wisdom. So when you're leaning into your self-care planet series in Gemini and you're learning how to be smart about when you do people, when you do networking, when you do communication and information exchange, you then start to gain wisdom in listening to your intuition. And then you can use that wisdom to then take action when it feels right in your home life. And when you can take care of yourself, your family, your friends, like there's got to be this nurturing energy. If it's something that will suck the energy from you and you won't be able to take care of yourself and you'll be traveling all the time or you'll be not able to eat properly, like don't do it. You have to be able to take care of yourself and nurture yourself. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, definitely. It goes back and forth for sure. And also, I had the remembrance because I realized this before that, you know, I'll be in hermit mode, but then when I actually get out there around people or like go to conferences, good things always happen and people notice me, like quote unquote big people notice me. Like I just shared on my Instagram that I was approached by a woman who does TED Talks and she just saw me and she was like,
Lovely.
you could totally do what I do, and gave me her number and we had a call and she's like, I just thought I saw potential in you. You seem like you wanted to do it and why not help you if I can? And things
Right?
like that always happen when I actually go out and get around people. Like I'm noticed.
Exactly. Exactly. And it really activates this Leo rising. You do need to be noticed. It's very important to who you are. Anybody with a Leo rising came here to be seen, right? That's like Lady Gaga getting up on stage, like as if she doesn't want to be seen, right? Look at what she wears. Yes, she wants to be noticed. Hello. So you definitely have this energy of needing to be recognized and seen, but it's very important that you're recognized and seen for your authenticity, right?
Yes.
Your North Node is at 17 degrees in Aquarius, and it's in the business house or the partnership house, 7th. And your North Node is really like your spiritual Google map pinpoint, right? Like, where is your soul going in this lifetime? Where do you want it to go? And for you, it's in this Aquarius, unique, rebellious, eclectic energy. And it's business area or partnership area. So you're here to do weird. Like that's really what you're here to do. And authentic.
Sounds about right.
Right?
Sounds great.
Authentic and unique and rebellious and brilliant. Really be smart about it. And that's what you need to be recognized for. Nothing fake. If people like, you know, love you for your hair or something, you're like, get out of here. Like I don't even can't even right.
Exactly.
That's why you're not like touting like, you know, nail polish and shit. Like that doesn't work for you, right? You want to be seen authentically, which is what's really important to your emotional center, your Cancer moon. I love people with Cancer moons because there's so much deep compassion in there that they genuinely care about others, like so deeply. And that caring for you is part of your transformation process here on this planet because your moon is connected to your natal Pluto in the middle of Scorpio. So you are of the Pluto and Scorpio generation. I love you guys. You guys came here to just change everything, change the foundations, shake everything up, create tectonic plate shifts, and make the world do things differently. And thanks for that, because we need that shit.
I feel that. And also with the authenticity and being seen, like it pains me when someone doesn't see who I am.
Yeah.
That I'm like trying to show who I am and I'm not seen, or they assume other things. And I know it's their conditioning and reflections and
Exactly.
projections, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So you have your career house, your MC, or otherwise known as your midheaven, which is the start of the 10th area of life here, the 10th house, in mostly Taurus. So you're a really nice, stable, purpose, your purpose here is to be stable and steady wins the race, right? Like you're not in any race. You're really just here to be stable and steady and help people find stability on their own. Right?
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
really, really important part of your purpose and your contribution to society is learning how to, like Taurus. I always think of Taurus energy, Taurus people as fairly stable, solid, real earthy beings that don't get rattled by much. It takes a lot to really shake up a Taurus energy. And this is your purpose here, is to be a foundational person for whatever it is you're building, right? You have a lot of people who've seen you at some point in your life, a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than you can really wrap your head around. Like what is, 500,000 people look like, or what? I don't know. I can't picture that in my mind, but you've had a lot of people see you at some point in your career, and you are a foundational energy for them to kind of anchor themselves to, no matter what it is you're doing, whether you're talking about food or your tiny house or relationships or valuing yourself, all Taurus themes, right? That's what people are looking for to like toss their anchor onto. Be like, here, I just need something to stay stable during all this chaos of, Earth school existence, because it's chaotic out here, right? But your purpose is to create this foundation where we really work on valuing ourselves, valuing our uniqueness, and being our weird self, and all doing it together where we just get along. There's a lot of like, can we just all get along, please?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Really, just like that. That'd be lovely. Thank you so much. And then you have a little bit of Gemini at the tail end of your 10th house. So you're definitely in the chatty, talkative there realm. And then your 11th area of life, where we have our purpose with community, big community, leaving humanity. Yep, that's right. Better than how we found it. So this is where we do a community, where we're really involved in our people, with our groups, working together. And you've got your planet of how you feel good and your planet of good luck and expansion in this area. So you're really here to do big things with community. It would be a shame if you didn't, right? It would be a waste of your skills and your talent if you weren't seen and weren't doing stuff that puts your energy out there, because that's what you're supposed to do. So
Mm-hmm.
yay
That's what I
that.
want to do. I love, like, I want to do more in-person things and just lead, but not on a pedestal, lead from a space of like, you're my, like, be an equal to me. I feel so uncomfortable when people put me on pedestals or like, and I'm like, I'm just a human.
Right? Yeah, I don't want that energy either. Like, no thanks. Hey, do you want, like, my shit stinks too. You want to come? Yeah, right? Like, I don't, nobody needs any pedestal energy. It's just not necessary. I also don't get, I've noticed this, I don't get starstruck,
Nope.
and I don't get like, doctor struck, or the doctor said so. I'm like, I don't really give a shit. How much research has he done? Right? Like, there's that authority figure for me. It doesn't really do much for me.
Same, same.
That's a lot of Venus and Aquarius. You're like, okay, cool. And what's your point? Right? I have skills, you have skills, we all have skills, but we need to work together with those skills and not raise people up above us. We just all together is the name of the game here. That's really what you're here to do. I love that you're questioning things right now around your business and around your values. And you're really like, what do I do with money and relationships? Because that tells me you are tuning into the energy. Pluto is going to be doing a dance over the top of this planet for a while over Venus. He just went retrograde. So he's going to go back over Venus, and then he's going to go back over the top. So you have some time to play with this energy. It also may transform the way you want to do, loverships and romantic partnerships. Maybe suddenly you're attracted to a different type of person than you were before. That can change too, where suddenly there's a new interest in, oh, I didn't know that was a thing of mine. Huh, look at that. So who knows in this next 6 to 9 months for sure what this will change for you, because it's Aquarius, so it's super unpredictable. The job is to recognize that this is happening in your daily routines and how you're of service to others. So being of service to somebody in the old way you were doing it last year probably will not work this year. It just won't. So if you're trying something last year that you did, it's got to have some new flair. It's got to have a different vibe. It's got to have a different approach, a new zhuzh to it in order for it to be successful this year. And that's important to know. Like, I feel like if everybody just knew that basic stuff, they could plan their life accordingly and go, oh, okay, so I'm going to do what I'm doing, but I got to go around the bend and approach it from this way instead of, from the angle I was coming at. And that perspective shift, I think, can change so many people in their energetics of what's wrong with me. Well, nothing's wrong with you. You're fine. It's just the planets moved. That's all. The planets moved and they're asking you to do something different, right? That would be like being in 5th grade and moving into 6th grade and not getting the curriculum, right? The teacher missed you. You were gone that day. You didn't get the curriculum and you're trying to figure out what everyone's doing. And, 2-3 weeks into the semester, you're like, I don't know anything. I'm dumb. What's wrong with me? Well, no, nothing's wrong with you. You didn't get the information on what you're supposed to be working on. It's really handy to know what your project is and know what the rules are and what you're supposed to be learning here. Super helpful. And that's what astrology does for people. It helps you go, oh, okay, expect some chaos, expect some transformations here, expect some changes and roll with it and don't fight it. My husband had this energy, Pluto over Venus, back in 2018. And we had a really rough go of it. Really rough go. And our marriage almost didn't survive. And we're high school sweethearts. So we've been together for a really long time. And I knew astrology and I've been studying astrology and I knew astrology and I looked at his chart. When I saw this, it helped me to take a deep breath and to know that it's not him that is the problem or that is doing anything wrong or anything. It was the change we were going through. Right? We were in labor, right? We were in that transformative process of the rebirth of our marriage. And we had to shift the way we communicated, the way we interacted, the way everything happened with our marriage if we were going to survive. And we did, because I knew this is what was going on, because I understood, at least on a basic level, that he was going through some shit and it was really freaking hard. Right? So I was able to be empathetic and compassionate. Whereas I could have been like, right, and ended the marriage and took off. I easily could have done that. And I would have been justified in my right to do that. But that wasn't what the energy was asking for us, right? We were really being asked to dig deep and work on the foundation of our relationship because this happened in Capricorn. So this is really impressive information that I want to impress upon people. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Impress upon people that this shit can really save you from terrible decisions. If you really just know some of the energy that's going on and understand a little bit, especially when it comes to things like your relationship or business or finances needing to be completely shifted. That's a big deal.
So you're saying don't just throw everything away. Don't burn it all to the ground.
No. Recognize what needs to be created differently, right? It's almost like you started a painting and you thought you were painting this and you're like, okay, it's okay. But you're like not feeling the painting and it's not looking like you thought it would. And you end up just throwing white all over the canvas and starting over with a whole new approach, a whole new tactic, all new colors. And it works out really well. That's the energy. It doesn't necessarily mean stop painting. It just means maybe you get the wrong colors or the wrong picture, or maybe it's the wrong energy, right? Just shift the perspective a little bit. Instead of painting a fruit bowl, maybe paint some vegetables, right? So keep painting, keep doing what you're doing, just a different approach, a different perspective, a shift in content, a shift in, right, the energetics of it, but not necessarily in the foundation of what you're doing. Does that help you feel better?
Yes, that does.
Good.
So, yes.
Good.
But so the season that I'm in is the same energy you were saying where you're having the issues with your marriage, right? Does that mean, and you said it's another 6 to 9 months?
So you're experiencing this.
using for the next 6 to 9 months? Is it just, I'm going to be overwhelmed for 6 to 9 months?
Not necessarily, no, because ideally the transformation energy hits and then you start to play with it. So it's like taking the clay, throwing it on the potter's wheel. That's the initial hit. And then you get to work with it and sculpt it. So it's not that it's going to just remain a big chunk of clay and be chaotic. It's you're going to get to work with it and sculpt it and play with it and tease that geniusness out of it and make it into a beautiful pot or vase or whatever it is. So the initial hit has already happened. The initial chaos has already taken place. The jolt that has shifted the way you view things. Now you get to play with the energy that's left. You get to learn how to sculpt it into what you're making it into. That's the beauty of it. It's not necessarily that it's overwhelming and chaotic. It's just that you're still in the sculpting process. No, it's not a finished cup. You can't put water in it and drink from it. It's still on the potter's wheel. Give me a minute. So the next 6 to 9 months are for you to keep sculpting and keep working with it and playing with it. Does that feel like a better energy and metaphor for you?
Yes. So will it all, then it will feel more complete and sturdy and built by
Yes.
then?
Well, in an ideal world.
All that in.
Yes, but look at your 10th house too. The sun is right in the middle of your career house right now. Venus just entered there. So she's activating you and making sure that you are really valuing what you do. Like she's double checking. So not only is Pluto on your natal Venus, Venus in the sky is going through your career house and going, hey, is this really, do we want to keep working on this foundation or do we need to, get some new carpet down? What do we need to do here? So she's helping you with that. The sun is shining a light there. He's in the middle, but you also have these two planets, the planet of chaos and change and the planet of big expansiveness and good luck and being the teacher or the learned one or the guru. So these guys are all activating these thoughts in your head and stimulating these ideas when it comes to your purpose and your potential and your career and what you're here to give to society. So it makes sense that you're still feeling overwhelmed and kind of chaotic. Yes. And it is going to start to settle down, especially as Jupiter gets out of there. He's kind of been a little obnoxious here for a while.
Jupiter, get out of there. Is that the
And
6 to 9 months?
no, he's going to be sooner than that. He's going to be, I can get exact dates for you, but he's going to be probably another, I want to say maybe month and a half. So
Okay,
not
cool.
Yeah, not real bad. But this is energy for you to really lean into and play because it is transforming you. And if you fight the transformation and you argue with it instead of play with it and flip around and do cartwheels, it won't feel as good. Like I said with your mom, and when she triggers you and you instinctively taught yourself how to dispel that energy to recenter yourself physically. It's kind of the same thing now with business and money and relationships is figure out a way to play with that. Figure out a way to kind of move that chaos into something creative. If spirit is giving you a lot of ideas right now, do your best to just capture them all, maybe on a big whiteboard, maybe in a mind map, but capture what you're getting and then put it all in a parking lot. Be like, hey, I got it. Thanks. But nope, I'll take that one. All right, put it in the parking lot. Okay, stay, right? And then work on the one thing you've got or the two things you've got. But you're going to get a lot of energy when it comes to these ideas. That's who you are. You're always going to have ideas, a lot of them. So learn how to capture them and not take them into your physical body, right? Learn how to capture them into a place that isn't within you. Saturn is right next to Neptune, and Saturn really represents our physicality of our body, our bones, our structure. And then Capricorn is very earthy, physical energy. So be mindful that you're not grabbing these ideas and hanging on to them and putting them in your backpack and carrying that shit around. That's heavy. Then when you're
big physical feeler.
Yeah. And when you're wearing that big physical backpack full of ideas, it's hard for you to flip around and do all your fun play and dance and dispel some of that chaos when you're hanging on to it. So figure out a way to capture these ideas, these thoughts, all the chaos into a safe space that isn't your body or your mind. Like, don't store it all. Move it out of your head. For the love of Pete, get that out of your head and onto. Do you have a whiteboard or a mind map space or
I
someplace you
don't,
put?
but I should.
You really need one. Yeah. Or even just a yellow notebook where you just like, this is my idea notebook, where you just throw it all on the, legal pad. But man, I feel like you've been holding all of your stuff in you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Stop that.
I know. I had a mentor one time who was like she trained in mediumship, and she was like, it feels like, well, this is more like empath in me, but she's like, it feels like you're holding like a backpack full of other people's energy, and you just need to not hold it because it's not even yours.
Okay, so Capricorn in the 6th house is really desperate to be of service to people. So especially Saturn, that's your karmic shit you came here to heal, is to work hard to be of service to people. So that is part of what it is too, is you're so service oriented that you are taking on, oh, I'll be of service here. I got room in my bag. Let me put that shit in there. Here, right there. Right? And you are taking their crap on. And then energetically with your moon in Cancer in the 12th house of psychic abilities, intuitive abilities, yeah, then you take on their emotional shit too. So not only are you taking their physical, but their emotional as well. You got them both. You
Oh
got two
no,
backpacks.
I had a really hard period when I first left LA and came to Washington, and I was noticing that I was working with several clients that it was just felt really heavy to work with them, and the things that they would talk to me about in their lives started showing, like, manifesting in my life. Or like
Annie.
friends would vent to me about their money problems, and all of a sudden, even though I was supporting them and I was doing really well, all of a sudden the things that they were talking about were showing up in my life.
Okay. So where that is the planet of nurturance in the sign of friendship, Gemini, is square to your planet of wisdom in the sign of Pisces, which is like absorbing shit, right? And then of course you got all this Cancer energy where you absorb more shit. But your friends are amazing, and you do, and your people and your clients and all that are amazing, and you do need them for nurturing and your health. And they do, the wrong ones, or the ones that really are like the Klingon, really do siphon and pull that from you and drown you and burden you, and you do absorb it. You do, absolutely. So again, this is where this square energy creates this tension. There's tension inside of us. So when you were born, these two asteroids were not having a lovely conversation when you were born. They were kind of arguing, because Ceres is over here in Gemini going, but I love all the people and I want to be with the people. And Pallas Athena's in Pisces going, yeah, and we keep absorbing their shit, so cut it out, right? And they just keep fighting back and forth. And your job is to recognize that you were born with this energy and learn how to find strength in these two gifts that you have. They're lovely energies. It's not bad. Neither is bad. We just have to learn how to work with both of them and be like, okay, everyone stop fighting. Yes, we do need people, and yes, we absorb them. So what can we do about this, right? It's almost like talking with two little kids who are fighting. How can we have a happy medium here? Mm-hmm. So that finding a happy medium, it comes with this Taurus energy right in the middle here in your career house, being stable, not absorbing, not necessarily giving, just being stable, being the ground, being the garden, being the earth that people can stroll upon when they need to go out in nature, right? So that Taurus energy for you is crucial for not absorbing, not disappearing, not doing too much with people and then not absorbing them, but getting the benefits of those energies as well, getting the motivation from the people, the eclectic excitement, feeding your networking, chit-chatty, talkative self, right? And your spiritual wisdom that you need to gain, but knowing where the healthy boundary is to say, okay, that's been enough people walking on my earth today. I'm good. We're going to shut her down now. We're stable. We're good.
Boundaries is what
boundaries. Healthy boundaries. Yeah. Important stuff. So one of the things I wanted to dive into, which of course we don't have time, is your solar return chart. So we might have to come back and do a solar return reading.
Yes.
Because what that is
right now or something.
So what a solar return chart is it's basically your assignment for the year. So like I was talking about with that 6th grader who didn't get the curriculum, Your solar return chart is your universal curriculum that the teacher hands you, and it's what you're working on for the year. So it's really a nice energy to know. I can show you what your chart is right now if you want to see it quick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is your solar return chart. It's very different than your natal. So what you get to do is you get to use this natal energy to do this assignment. So your assignment for the year was, it changed on the 14th of December. And that's when the sun lined back up in its place where you were born. And then you take another snapshot of the sky, and this is where all the planets were. Well, let's look at your house that deals with business, shall we? The 7th area of life. Oh, look, the planet of chaos is right here.
Oh, great.
Oh, interesting. Unpredictability right there. Oh, great. Cool. And the planet of gigantic expansion and good luck and good fortune is also here with partners.
Is that a normal thing for that? Are they usually right by each other like that?
No. Nope.
Oh.
Nope. This is a once the last time this happened in Taurus was in May of 1941. So it's been just a minute, hot minute. So these two in Taurus are really helping you to shake up the foundation of how you do business and do it in a bigger, smarter, more, I keep thinking like the professor, right? The learned one, that's what Jupiter is like the guru or the teacher. So in a more teacherish way, a more professor, learned one, a more wise way, and have fun doing it. Jupiter loves fun. So that's your assignment for the year, is with business, with partnership, with romance. This is the area of life where we do like one-on-one things. But look at your first house, your assignment for this year, your first house. This is where your planet of relationships is. And it's right next to the planet that we deal with for wisdom, feminine wisdom.
So what is that saying?
So when we have feminine wisdom next to what we value and how we bring in money, again, we're learning to be really smart and wise about how we spend our time, how we value our time and our energy. And because this is the first area of life, this is the assignment of I am being wise about valuing myself and my time in a new way. And because it's Scorpio, I am going deep to transform how I do this. So this is literally your assignment this year. And look at you go. Woo, woo.
Woo! Gosh.
I love it. I love it. So we can go in deeper and deeper and deeper and explain to you like what your assignment is and how all of that works for the year. And then I personally refer back to my solar return chart frequently. At least once a month, I will go back and check it and talk to some, other astrologer friends about it, because it shows up as you go, right? All of a sudden, something will happen in your life and you'll go, oh, this is that thing in the 4th house where I got, oh, okay. This is how it shows up. All right. And then you get to like put on your big girl panties and work your way through that assignment, right? Okay. So my son just turned 15, and in his solar return assignment, Saturn was the first planet in the first part of his chart. And when you're 15, you have to grow up and mature. And that is what that planet is. It's time to grow up. It's time to be mature. It's time to be disciplined. It's time to physically grow, which 15-year-old boys do. And he just got his first job, and he was having a hard time this morning. And he says, I don't really like this. I had such a carefree life before, and now I have all this structure, and I got to go to work, and my schedule is full. And I was like, oh, honey, you're doing your assignment this year. Yay. He's like, I don't want to hear it. That's okay. Hilarious. You don't have to hear it, but at least I understand that this is okay. And I don't have to try to fix you. There's nothing to fix. Your assignment is to learn how to grow up. Good job. You're doing it. I know it feels yucky and you don't like it, but too bad. I don't know anybody who really enjoyed being 15. So,
sometimes it was all right.
Here and there. So, how do you feel?
I feel good. It's validating. And even just the part about the chaos and the good things, because that's one thing I keep saying is there are all these things that feel really chaotic and like unstable and unsafe and like what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, at the same time, all of these opportunities and like this channel that has almost 2 million subscribers. It's called like Tiny House Big Journey or something like that, but they have like 2 million subscribers. They reached out to me and they're like, we want to feature you and your house on our channel. And they live in Washington as well. Like they want to come
Okay.
and put me on their channel. And like the lady who is a TED Talk full-time speaker, she wants to help me out. And I just won a 5-night free stay at a $1,000 per night resort in Hawaii. Like tons of things. Yeah, like all of these things that are good. But on the other hand, especially in the realm of business and like marketing and creating things to, again, business and marketing, like that's where it's like, and then I get like the kink in the hose around that kind of stuff.
100%.
And all on the other hand, it's like all these cool opportunities that aren't necessarily financial, but could end up being financial opportunities are happening.
Absolutely.
I'm
And
like,
that's
I just had to pay tons and tons of money for taxes, and my bank account is drained because of that. And that's stressful. So these are cool, but like, can we get like the business stuff flowing more?
exactly. And that's the thing about the planet Venus, which represents how you're going to make money this year. Your assignment in Scorpio in the first house is it's going to feel intense. Money's going to feel intense this year. Yeah.
Like
Anytime Venus is in Scorpio, like it's just talk about intense energy with relationships and money and your relationship to money. And it could be where big changes happen, right? Big money goes out, big money comes in. And that can be quite uncomfortable, right?
mm-hmm.
But it's also really important to settle in and trust. And my lesson last year of trust when I gave birth to my little magic baby who was not invited to the party, he showed up anyway. I had to surrender and trust that my career was not going to fall apart when I had him. And I had just launched my new astrology career in May 2022. And then I got pregnant in July and had him the following April. And I was so terrified that I wasn't going to be able to maintain, but I had to trust. And I kept looking at my chart. And last year, everything about my chart was, hey, you need to lean into spirit and trust that you don't have control. Just relax in the raft and go down the whitewater rapids, right? Just surrender. Don't even get the paddle and try to control it. Like just lay down in the boat. Just hang on. And that was what got me through, knowing that my spirit homies had my back, and my assignment this year was to seriously trust fall. And your assignment this year is to have some weird, sudden, chaotic changes when it comes to business and big, expansive opportunities when it comes to business. Do you act on all of them? No. You have to be mindful around which ones feed you the right way and don't energetically drain you and energetically pull from you, right? That's where you get to be wise about how you spend your money or how you spend your time. Really important to know these assignments. So, and then it changes at your birthday. So you'll have a new solar return at your birthday. So I love diving in, especially when people are about halfway through the year, like you are, because you've been in this energy for like 6 months now, and you're like, okay, what is going on?
I think it feels chaotic.
It's supposed to. Yeah.
And that's always so validating too. I feel like the times that I have had astrology readings, mostly from you, before I even say what's going on, it's like, oh, a lot's going on for you, or a lot just was happening. Am I right? And I'm like, yes. And it makes me feel just very validated, like, oh, I'm not doing something wrong.
Right.
Or I'm not failing at this thing. It's just the energy of right now.
So that's my heart's goal, right? My heart's goal is to help people feel validated and understood in who they are and what energy they're in. I'm not here to fix your shit. I got my own shit to fix. I'm good. I'm here to help you create awareness around what energetic things you may be dealing with as you're trying to fix your own shit, right? Like you get to do your musical composition. That's what I love about birth charts. I feel like they are our own musical sheet music for ourselves, our own energy. And as you play a musical score, the music changes. right? It ebbs and flows. It's crescendo and it's decrescendo and it's all over. And then suddenly there's a pause and then there's a big cymbal crash, right? Music is alive and it moves just like us. And our chart needs to be alive and move, but we have to play our freaking music, not mom's, not the churches, and certainly not grandma's. We got to play our own music. And that's where people get caught up, is they were programmed to, dad's waltz when they're supposed to be doing heavy metal, right? Not the same thing, right? You need to play your own energy, your own music. And once you do, it just gets so much better. It flows so much better. And there's nothing wrong with you because you're now playing your own music and shit just feels aligned instead of fighting it because mom told me to, or dad told me to, or, programming of whoever told me to. I love astrology. It's probably
Me
my
too.
favorite damn thing.
I don't know all of the things, but when I get in here and it starts making sense, I just love diving in. There are a couple questions.
Ooh, let me hear them.
And if there are any more while you're live, let me know in the chat.
Yeah.
But one of the questions is, for those who have no record of their exact birth time, for example, being born in another country that doesn't keep that record, but I have my exact date, is it possible for me to still get my chart read?
It is, yes. I actually just read a chart for a guy who actually didn't have any clue when he was born at all, because he was born during a world war time in another country. And what they said was his birth time and date doesn't align with who he feels. And it was very interesting. And I read several different charts and we honed in on the one that fit him. Yes, there's actually people called chart rectifiers, and they actually it's a skill and it's something that they've been taught. I'm learning it, but to hone in on the specific time of the day based on information and questionnaires and stuff like that. So we can get to more specific time. We may not get the exact time, but within an hour or so is pretty accurate.
That's so cool.
But
so
we can do
having
it with
the actual date is better than the situation with that guy even.
Yep. So if we have the date at least, and even a general idea if it was morning or afternoon or evening, that's helpful too. But even just the date, we can still read a whole bunch of information. Yeah.
Cool. And then, how did Laura get into astrology? Any recommendations to start learning how to read natal charts and astrocartography?
Oh, I love astrocartography. That's probably one of my favorites. What astrocartography is basically the lines of the planets and their energies and where they line up on the Earth's surface. So there's like the sun line goes through Jamaica, or the Venus line goes through wherever. And those are energetic placements that are more powerful for you, or more healing for you, or more transformative. So I learned, where did I learn astrology? Oh my gosh. I just found it. I had this sign up in my bedroom growing up, and it's just a little wooden Aries plaque. And it says, I have a strong will and a spirit for adventure. I have the confidence to lead when others fear to. Sometimes I dominate, but I am a good and generous companion. And this was always just on my wall of my childhood bedroom for as long as I can remember. I don't ever remember a time when it wasn't there. And it was frequently when I would wake up and see it, it was just hanging right there. So I'd read it all the time. So I feel like astrology was definitely just always part of my realm. But I really got into it specifically 15 years ago is when I started to like deeply apply it, when my first son was born. We had fertility issues getting pregnant, and for 5.5 years. And when he showed up, well, I was thrilled. Everything was great. Woohoo. And I was starting to run into a wall mentally, physically, and emotionally, because I had given birth to a child who has 55% earth signs in his chart. I have 0. I am a 64% air and 24% fire, and the rest water. So I'm a big ass fireball. And I was attempting to move the mountain of a human that I created. And I was energetically exhausted and mentally done trying to get this child to shift or change. And then I really dove into his chart and I realized, oh, I'm not gonna get him to change, Mr. 3 planets in Taurus. That's not happening. So I had to learn how to dance around his mountain, right? How to work with him. And the relationship between my son and I is really the thing that taught me astrology. I would lay in bed, I'd grab my phone and I'd lay in bed and I would look at his chart and I'd go, okay, moon in Taurus. And then I would go look up articles and I would read everything I could find. And I would look for patterns in the various articles. And then I'd get books from the library. And again, patterns. I was looking for patterns. So my journey was mostly self-taught through learning my children's charts and my husband's chart and my chart. And then I just kept expanding from there. And then when the pandemic hit, I was doing health coaching and I'm a aromatherapist as well. And after the pandemic hit, I got pregnant with my now 3-year-old and I couldn't do the same thing I was doing. Oh, I had a baby with 7 planets in Aquarius. I can't do the same thing. I have to change because that's what Aquarius is. So I had to change. And she was the catalyst to make me kind of come out of the closet as an astrologer, a professional astrologer, because I had really been doing it kind of in the closet for a while. So I came out as my weirdo self, and that felt so amazing to be doing what I knew I was here to do. Like I stood in my own. And I took Deborah Silverman's school, and my teachers were like, hey, like you're good. You're good. You got this. Okay, cool. So I just started merging it. And one of the things I love doing mostly is helping people with their health through astrology, and especially the health of relationships. So parents and children, adults as well, adult parents and adult children, husbands and wives, siblings. I love helping people in relationship.
Does my chart say I'm going to be alone forever?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Nope.
There are a couple more questions, but I also want to plug this right now. Again, if anyone wasn't here at the beginning, if you want a reading with Laura, it is linked in the description of this live. So go click around in the description. Also, after this live's over, I will pin it in the comments too. Definitely check it out. Worth it. Do it. But another question is, which signs do Aries work with romantically?
Oh my gosh. I love these questions because there's no answer.
Right.
Because the sun sign, your identity, is one part of you. But we are multidimensional beings. We have so many other parts. As you saw in Annie's chart when I was doing a reading, there's a lot of different asteroids, planets, energies, right, that affect us. So your sun sign is just like, that's the one kind of identity point. It's like the keystone, right? But then there's all of the other bricks of the whole building, and there's all of the other energies. So I don't think there's any one particular sign that you can or can't get along with. According to astrology, Aries and Capricorn don't get along well romantically, but I beg to differ because I've been with them for 25 years. So there you go. Right? So I can't give you who you blend well with just on your sun sign. Now, if we dive into your chart and I look at your chart, then I can tell you who you really merge well with and what energies you're looking for. But I can't do it just based on your sun sign because there's too much missing information.
Me and one of my best friends, we have this thing where we're like, be careful of male water signs.
Oh, that's so funny.
They're difficult. They're difficult. We've had experience.
Yeah, and that counts for something too.
Yeah. I don't know what this word is. What is CERES?
Ceres.
Ceres?
Yep.
The question is just, when did they start using Ceres and comets and planets and moon and all that to give the history? When did they even start this?
Right? Oh, there's so much good history. We're actually, my podcast partner and I are doing a whole class on Uranus and where that came, when that planet was discovered and all that fun stuff. Pulling in asteroids is fairly recent, the last probably 30 years or so, when telescopes and stuff got better and we had better reach of the stars. But really, the asteroids, I like to bring them in because they are more of a feminine energy, and I think they help balance all the masculine energy of the planets. So Saturn is masculine energy and Mars is masculine, and there's a lot of masculinity within the planets just the planets, but when you bring in the asteroids, now we got the feminine, now we got more flair, flavor, flow, and we get a new dimension. So not all astrologers bring them in, but I like to because I think they're relevant in a lot of our life, but not necessarily in a lot of the specific things that we talk about all the time. So I like to pull those in, especially for your reading today when we were like talking about money and self-care and nurturing and all that. I have to know where your heart flame is. Like I just need to.
Well, I liked it. So thanks for doing that.
Good.
And this is very last call for questions, although, because I can see the chat right now, but the chat is much more delayed.
Okay.
As we stream through Zoom to YouTube. So if
No
there's
worries.
any last questions, drop them right now. Other than that, any other information you want to share? How can they find you? All of those good things.
Yes, you can find me at lauraleelotto.com. My website is being revamped. It's everything's up. That's good. But I have a new community I created this past year after I had my 5th baby. It finally dawned on me that parenting should be in my realm of things that I do. Don't know why it took me 5 kids, but here we are. So I have a community called the Cosmic Mama Collective, and it is specifically designed for mamas to learn how to reparent themselves as they parent their children. Give them tools, give them cosmic tools like astrology, human design. I've got a crystal lady in there, a Reiki lady in there, a hypnosis lady in there, like a lot of collaborators that are here to give you tools to reparent yourself, do the healing you came here to do, and then parent the next generation in a whole new way. So the Cosmic Mama Collective is kind of my little baby I've been working on to kind of put all of my content that I teach, whether it's aromatherapy, whether it's astrology, just put all of that stuff in there to teach moms how to do this as well, so that they can look at their 15-year-old's chart and be like, oh, okay. All right. I got it. I know what's going on, right? So they can feel a little bit more empowered and better about where they're at with their kids and themselves. So you can find that on my website. And then let's see what else. I got a Mother's Day special I'm offering right now. If you still need a gift for mama,
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, mommy and me readings. So that can be mom with you or mom with whoever, but helping her understand herself is something that's a really nice gift and very personal as well.
Oh, so you'll have people come together and you'll read. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's a really, I actually had a client do it last year for her mom, and she's like, you should do this for Mother's Day. And I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, link down in the description. Go get a reading. There was one more question I see. How do you make a career as an astrologist? And I guess my addition to that is like, do you have to go get certified? I'm assuming
you do not have to go get certified. No, I choose to, just for like the validation and stuff. Like I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about. Like I thought I did, but I wanted to make sure I did. And that was nice. So I did Deborah Silverman's school. There's also, I love Astrology University is where I take a lot of classes as well. They have credit courses where you can get certified, or you can just audit the courses and just take them just for your own knowledge. But tons of stuff on there. How do you do a career or make a career as an astrologist? I'm still learning that. I think the key is to figure out what your niche is and what your love is, right? My love is helping people with healthy relationship and healthy relationship to self. Like that is my jam. That's my goal. I want you to be in health. And so I artistically interpret charts from that perspective, but I know other astrologers who focus on a whole different way of doing it. So it's really what your interest and what your zone is. Find that and find your thing and then roll with it.
Yeah. Yay.
I hope that helped.
That sounded good to me.
All right, good. Yay.
Yay. And I think that's all for questions. I don't see any more coming through, but they are saying that they love this reading and learning all the things. They're thanking you.
Yay.
And I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your gifts and more about me.
We have to give.
I really want people to know who I am. And I feel like this was such a good way to get a deeper understanding on me.
Right. We have to give you credit for being so vulnerable and showing up, because astrology readings are, they can get real deep and real personal, and they frequently do. So kudos to you for being vulnerable and showing up. And you were like, hey, no topics are off the table. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
geez,
nothing's
okay.
off the table. Expose me.
And we can totally go deeper. I mean, this was just surface. Like, we didn't even dive in real deep. I could easily go into your personal chart for another hour or two before we even get into like juicy stuff. So I have packages. I love doing ongoing readings with people. And then they get to do readings like every month or every couple months as they experience the energies, right? And they get to come to me and go, okay, what just shifted? What the hell's going on?
Mhm.
And then I go, all right, let's dive in and see. So I've got
Mhm.
quite a few clients I work with monthly, and that's been really, really fun.
Yeah. And I also love to the times that I've done readings. I mean, I was just in a really dense space a couple weeks ago where I was like, "Oh, this is, like emotional." So I've
Mhm.
moved past that, but several of the times I've gotten my readings from you were in the midst of that energy.
Yeah.
And then to come in and you like shine the light on who I am,
Yeah.
even when I'm not feeling it and I'm not feeling like other people are seeing it, but what you're reflecting to me is like that is what I know myself to be on the inside. And even in a moment of chaos, you're still like, no, this is who you are,
Yeah.
without me even saying any of the things.
Yeah.
It's just very,
Feeling seen. Isn't that what we all long for?
yeah.
Right? Isn't that what the whiny toddler is just craving? Like, just feeling seen, right? Everybody wants to feel seen for who they truly are, not who they were programmed to be by their church or parents or whatever, for who they actually are. And that, oh God, that gets me. That's my thing. I love that shit.
Ew.
Thank you for showing up. And let's give a shout out to Tassin for hooking this up, because she told me she was doing a live with you, and then I accidentally jumped on the live.
We're like, let's do a reading live. Yeah. Shout out to Tathan.
Shout out to
Always.
Tassin for that. So thank you so much, Annie. This has been such a pleasure.
Thank you. And before I end the live itself, just one last reminder, go book your reading with Laura.
Do it.
Do it. Go click the link. You're gonna love it. You won't regret it. So click that link. If you're to this point in the video, hit the thumbs up. And if you're watching the replay, leave a comment. I would love to know what new things you may feel you've learned about me that you might not have known before.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Please reflect back to me. The cancer in me wants the validation that I'm liked.
I need it.
Like me. But with that being said, that is all for this session. Maybe I'll have Laura come back if she wants to at some point, if you
Let's
guys
do it.
but I know you do. And I will end the live right now. Let me make sure I do it correctly though, because every time I do this, I'm like, did I actually end it? And then we're talking afterwards.
Yeah.
But I've always done it successfully. I just want to double check and make sure I do. Okay, found the button. We're officially ending this live right now. Thank you guys for being here. Talk to you soon. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
It says we're ended. There we go. Yay.